Zen Trend Following, Module 1. Being a trader. So, a good idea would be to set aside time each day, a place where there's no disturbances, and I'd really advise you to start creating the habit of setting aside, this time, and make it a habit to do your trading and your education. So it's a minimum of, you're looking to getting any good value out of this course, a minimum of 1 to 2 hours per day, where you can watch these videos and do your practice. In fact, these videos are not going to take that long, but it's actually the practice that's going to take you the longest. So you want a place with no disturbances. This needs to be a place where you won't be disturbed, so close the door to your office and immerse yourself in the world of trading. If you miss a day, that's fine. Just start off the next day from where you left off. But I suggest not to try and leave it for more than 3 or 4 days. You might have holidays, you might have family over. Try and be consistent, because if you leave it for a long time, your brain sort of loses that momentum that you've created, and your learning gets disrupted. It means you probably need to review everything that you've done up until that period, and you sort of start from the beginning. Once the concepts are ingrained in your psychology and in your body and in your learning aspects of your brain, you can then, give it a few weeks of break and absolutely no problem. But in this learning process, you really do yourself a disservice if you don't actually do it on an ongoing basis consistently. And also remember, we want to trade consistently. So again, we're ingraining the habits of being consistent in something. So whether it's trading or learning, you want to create this habit of being consistent. Okay, so if you do miss a day, that's fine. You just start from where you left off. But if you do miss a week, I would suggest start from the beginning again. So you can watch the videos on the train, the tube, or the bus. Obviously not while driving. But I'd rather advise you start getting in the habit of taking some time out of your day specifically to focus on the trading. So you can listen to the stuff as a review, but actually listen and watch the videos or do your trading in a place where you normally would trade. So you create sort of a space for that particular sort of activity. And during this, you'll start to create a trader's mindset. And so the best way I know to learn a trader's mindset is obviously to learn from the best traders out there. So you've heard my thank yous and you've heard the name Jack Schwager. So guess what I'm going to say? I'm going to say, pick up the book called Market Wizards, and read it from cover to cover. And if you're really enthusiastic, you'll pick up the new Market Wizards. And what you'll do is you'll start to get a feel for how successful traders in the world think. There is something about reading a book that helps your brain to process information and learn information in completely different ways to watching a video or to listening to an audio. So you want to cover all 4 modalities of learning. You want to be able to read a book, okay? You want to be able to listen to the audio. You want to be able to watch the video, and you want to actually practice. So those 4 different styles of learning, if you cover all 4 of them, you're going to learn at a lot faster pace. So let's see. The second book, as I said before, is Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. I highly suggest you read that as well. And then the third book, as I've mentioned before, is Trend Following by Michael Cavell. And you can pick up any of those books on Amazon. All of these books are essential reading. So I can't see you being a success if you're not prepared to pick up these books and spend some time reading these books. Then, maybe you just don't have the focus to be a trader. Because taking on this activity, remember, you're competing against thousands and thousands and thousands of traders out there. When you take a trade and you make some money, remember, somebody else has to be losing some money. Maybe not personally, but maybe a company has to be losing some money. Excuse me. Remember, those companies hire hundreds of people. These people have got PhDs, they've got a whole long list of degrees, and you're going to be competing with them for that same resource, that same amount of money. So what you need to do is you need to give yourself the best possible sort of opportunity. And I tell you, these 3 books are the basics. These are just the beginning. If you really want to, you really want to over excel, you're going to find a whole lot more books about psychology, trend following, and those type of things. Personally, I don't read any books on technical analysis because I don't do technical analysis. That's not something that I subscribe to. I don't say it doesn't work, and I'm sure it will work for some people, but I think it probably works for more analytical people. Personally, I'm a feeling person. That's my Cancerian side, and I feel things. I don't intellectualize them. But some people do. Some people are intellectual. They can handle, chart patterns and all that type of stuff. That's their thing. That is not really my thing. I can do it, but it's not my thing. So 90% of trading is psychology. Anyone can learn the techniques, the rules, the skills, but it's the people who master the emotions, the discipline, and the psychological stress that trading places on you who will be able to produce profits in the long run. This is the reason why a large amount of the time during this course is spent on this subject. Because if we don't get this right, none of the other things will work. This will just be another trading course that you failed at. We don't want that. We want you to be successful, and we're going to give you the best chance of being that success. Your inner voice may be saying to you right now, oh, that's fine for most people. I don't need psychology training. I'm different. I'll just fast forward to the strategy. And within days, I'll be making huge amounts of money. Just catch yourself when you say that. The attitude that you take on the statement with is the difference between your success and your failure. Let me ask you a question. What is the difference between a losing trader and a consistently profitable trader? Is it the strategy? You might say, oh, well, I just haven't found the right strategy yet for me. Sure, there may be some validity to that, and not every strategy is suitable to everyone or your circumstances. But what if you had found the right strategy and you still weren't successful? What would the difference be then? How come there are other people using that exact same strategy and they're very successful? So, is it your psychology? The way your brain processes information about wealth and money through beliefs, societal conditioning, and past negative experiences. Do you realize that 80% of your life is run by the subconscious? The subconscious tells your heart when to beat, tells your kidneys how to function, tells you when to wake up. The subconscious is like a program that you have been feeding your whole life. Every experience that you have had has had an imprint on your subconscious. Everything that you have heard has had an imprint on your subconscious. Every experience you've had has had an imprint on your subconscious. You might say something like, well, that's just the way I am. Now, the reason you might not want to face this sort of situation is the reason that you feel that you have no power to make any changes. So you resist it. You might have read self-help books and gone to loads of classes and courses, and nothing has worked in the past. And you're still constantly sabotaging your success. Now, the reason why I'm saying this and why I can say it with such conviction is that this is exactly what's happened to me. My life didn't change until I was able to change my psychology. And now you've heard that before, and maybe where you're sitting, it doesn't make any sense to you. But I tell you what, after this course, it'll make total sense to you. Don't you think that it would be a fantastic idea to have your subconscious on your side instead of against you? Because during this course, we're going to give you major breakthroughs that are going to change your life in a major way. If you follow the instructions and are open to stepping beyond your comfort zone. In fact, we'll be able to make changes in your life that'll give you breakthroughs in not only the area of trading and your psychology, but in your whole life, in your relationships and in other areas. So if you follow the steps, I promise that you're going to have a good chance of making those breakthroughs.